Hey everyone, it's Emma, and today I'm going to talk about some books I've been reading for my AP Literature class, and we read a lot of books this year. And so the test is coming up in a couple days, and so in order to help me get ready for the test, I'm just going to go over some of these books and talk about them, and talk about like their meanings and their symbolism and stuff like that, and this is kind of a way to help me study a little bit. So let's get started. John Steinbeck's East of Eden. Now, this was my favorite book that we read this year in AP Lit. It was the first book that we read in class together, and I was so surprised when I read it, because last year, my junior year, we read Grapes of Wrath, and I literally wanted to die. I just did not like that book at all. I thought it was so boring, and it was just... Anyway, I was like, I'm done with Steinbeck. I'm never reading Steinbeck ever again. And so when Miss Baker said, hey, we're reading East of Eden, I was like, crap, because I was still so done with Steinbeck. So, East of Eden is about... It's the Cain and Abel story in a retelling of the book of Genesis out of the Bible. And, so it's about these two brothers, Charles and Adam, as they, go through life. And Adam, moves out to California, and he has two sons, and so the whole Cain and Abel thing starts again, and then Adam has this crazy wife named Kathy, and so there's this whole battle between, predestination or choice, and the whole idea of Tim Shell. Like, Kathy, his crazy wife, Adam's crazy wife, is... there's this whole debate, is she a monster, or is she just a misled person? So, I mean, it's a crazy book, and the ending, oh my goodness, the ending. I don't know if I liked the ending, because people said, I don't know, it was just it's weird. But I really enjoyed this book, and I definitely want to reread it again this summer. Next book. George Orwell's 1984. Whew. So when I read this book, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I knew it was like dystopian and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's about this guy named Winston Smith, and he's not your average like hero type person. He's described as like really like skinny and meek and not exactly like good looking, and he's kind of old. He's like in his 30s or something like that. And so, I mean, so I included that in my essay about this book at the end when we finished reading it, and Ms. Baker was not too happy about that, me thinking that he was too old. Anyway, but no, he works for the government, basically, and he helps erase the past and change the future and change the past type of thing. And he kind of falls for this girl that works at the same government building as him, but he's like never felt emotions before, because they like totally erase emotions and stuff. And so so him and this girl, her name is Julia, they kind of they like rebel against the government in their own little ways, but the government finds out, and so it's crazy. When I finished reading the book, I threw it across this room, because I was so mad. If you've read this, or if you want to read it. It's like, this could happen. Like, this could happen. Read it, educate yourself, and let me know what you think, I guess. We got The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This book is a feminist text, and it talks about, it's about this woman, her name is Edna. She's kind of in her status, she's very high in status, in this Creole society in the South, in Louisiana, I think. And it's just her transition from, being in this box that society has burdened her with, and she moves from this box out to be this free, independent woman. and it's really inspiring. So we read it twice actually in class because it's really short. It's like around 100 pages. It's not very long. I definitely learned quite a lot about just how society really does burden women. And I never really realized it before until I read this book. And so it's really empowering for women. And the ending is a little sad, but it's also super empowering. She finally is free from society in the end, and I was surprised how much I liked it. So, actually, there's a bunch of symbolism that has to do with birds and her clothes, this, like, the moon and the ocean, and it's super interesting. And I really like how Chopin uses symbolism in this book to show Edna's transition in her life. This is really fascinating. The next book that we read in class together was Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This book is all written in Southern dialect, which was really interesting to read together as a class and just at home. When I was doing the reading assignments at home, I had to almost read it out loud sometimes because it was really kind of hard to understand if you just read it in your head. It's about this woman. Her name is Janie, and she is raised with a white family along with her grandmother, and but is married off when she's like 14 or 15 to this man who's also black. She's a black woman. And she's like, no, I don't like this. And so she runs away and marries this other guy named Joe, who in the end turns out to be a complete asshole. He really, like, controls her. This is, like, another kind of feminist text where she learns to be free. She frees herself, kind of. She kind of realizes that she is a free and independent woman at the very end of the book. No, she marries 3 different men in this book, and her very last marriage is her best marriage, but it ends super sad, and it was so sad, guys. You don't even know. And there's also a lot of symbolism in this book too. Like, for example, there's like this town donkey, and like it was like a really beat up and really like sad donkey. But then the town like adopts it and like, this is our town donkey, it's awesome. And then like a while, that kind of like, it like connects to like Janie's like growth in this town and whatever. And then the donkey dies, and so they decide to have a funeral for it, and they drag it out of the town. And Joe, Janie's husband, is the mayor of this town, and decides to, at this donkey's funeral, which is on the outskirts of town, he stands on it and gives this donkey's eulogy while he's standing on its dead corpse. So, that part was really interesting for me, and I thought it was really interesting how that donkey like kind of connects to Janie in a way that Joe kind of controls her. It's something like that. Super interesting book. Read it. Read this. The next book that we read, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I had no idea what to expect when I picked up this book at Barnes & Noble. It was just, I was like, okay. But this is about a man. It takes place in Africa, in like Nigeria. I don't really know. But it's about this man. His name is Okonkwo, and he's like a warrior in the Umofia tribe, and he like lives by all of his like traditions, and he doesn't want to become like his father because his father was weak, and so he tries to like higher his standards from his father to be like better than him, and which means being more manly. Like his father was like kind of a sing-songy guy. He hadn't had any cares in the world, and so he's like, I'm not going to be like my dad. He was weird, so I'm going to be this manly man. I have to show everyone that I'm the man in the tribe. So he has like 4 wives and like a lot of kids, and he has like he has like favorite kids and stuff like that, and favorite wives and whatever, but something happens and he gets banished from his tribe and he has to go back to his motherland, where he just kind of mopes and gripes and like doesn't change at all. And so when he comes back, the white missionaries from England have already taken over, and he's like, guys, we have to rebel against them, like, we gotta show them that we're awesome, and we can't let this, we have to, like, honor our spirits and whatever, and the tribe's like, dude, they won, like, there's nothing we can do about it. And he's like, but guys, like, ah! He like, decapitates a person, and then the ending, and then it's just sad. So, read this book. It's really good. And the very last text that we read together in Miss Baker's second period AP Lit was Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, or What You Will. Personally, I had a kind of a hard time reading this one, mostly because I'm not a super huge Shakespeare fan. Like, Shakespeare is awesome, but like, I just have a really hard time getting through a lot of his works. But once I understand it, I'm like, that's a genius. Shakespeare plays with gender roles a lot in this play, with Viola, dressing up as Cesario, having to, serve Orsino, which is the man that she ends up falling in love with, but she has to, like, woo Olivia, and it's just like, blah, and then Olivia falls in love with Cesario, who's Viola, and then it's just like, blah. But in the end, it's like, oh, I know you're a lady now, and so, yeah, so everyone gets married. Yeah, it's great. That's all I really have to say about it. I really hope I don't have to write an essay on this one. Alright, so there you have it. Those are the books that we read, and the text that we did, and I hope that helped me a little bit. I'm pretty sure it did. I hope to be making some more videos, because I want to. That was fun. So, if you like what you see, subscribe, I guess. And, yeah.